But clearly, this administration has been asleep at the switch when it comes to addressing the issue of inflation and the enormous adverse economic impact it's had on the American people.
It's 12 days till Christmas, and Joe Biden is the Grinch who stole Christmas. The new inflation numbers came out today, and today in America we're still at a 40-year high. Joe Biden was asked about that because prices are up 13.9% since the day he took office. He said, when are prices going to return to normal? And his answer was, hopefully at the end of next year. Look, there's no end in sight to this. People, families have been suffering through Biden's inflation for the last 20 months, and this Christmas is going to be the most expensive ever. And not just for Christmas packages and presents and for Christmas meals, but also for decorations. We have decoration inflation. Christmas trees, wreaths, poinsettia plants, and the lights to cover them. Those are all up 15%, each one of those, and the electricity, 15% as well. People in national polls say they're going to, because of inflation, be able to afford fewer presents or no presents at all. For people who are living paycheck to paycheck, they're having to dig into their savings accounts, whatever is left of that. People are in a point where they're having to make tough choices. And the reckless tax and spending bill by the Democrats has made it worse. And the Democrats' willingness to hire 87,000 new IRS agents is a real strain on the American people. This year for Christmas, families this year are spending $5,000 more just to stay even than they were right before Joe Biden became president. The solution: cut the Washington wasteful spending and unleash American energy.
Well, in terms of savings, American families had more in savings at the end of 2020 than they've ever had before. The combination of the various kinds of assistance that went out under COVID and the lack of ability to get out and spend money, having to change your spending patterns, there was money there, but that money is going and going quickly. For lower income Americans, their savings have all been spent. For middle income Americans, about 50% of the savings they had 20 months ago is gone, and everything that they want to buy costs on average 13.8% more than it did 20 months ago. You know, the inflation number, I think, was 7.5%. Some people say, well, last year it was 8, 7.5 this year, it must be going down. No, you add those numbers virtually together. 13.8 in the 20 months since President Biden started with these bad energy policies and policies that drive inflation and hurt families. It needs to stop. It needs to stop now. Unlikely that most of that 14 cents that everybody's lost out of every dollar they have or will have will go back to anywhere near where it was before. That money's gone. If you had savings, that savings is worth about 14% less than it was 2 years ago. If you have a 401k, it's probably worth about 14% less than it was 2 years ago. Some of that for some people may come back. A lot of it will never come back to the buying power we had just 20 months ago. But to stop the spending that doesn't make sense, to focus on the things that do make sense, to have energy policies that work, need to be a commitment that everybody makes at the end of this year to change the trajectory of our economy and the trajectory of families, both what they have and what they'd like to have as we start next year.
3,000 illegal entries in a 24-hour period in El Paso, Texas. 3,000 in a 24-hour period in just one sector of our southern border. 73,000 gotaways in the month of November. Illegal entrance into the United States. Just a few months back, I went to the southern border with our colleagues, Senator Cruz and Senator Cornyn, and we went to the border. Folks, people were turning themselves in to CBP. They were turning themselves in. So you know what those gotaways are? They're bad people that know that they will be detained by CBP and turned back. That's why they run away. 73,000 bad people coming into the United States in 1 month. We know that Title 42 is set to expire in mere days. But what is the Biden administration doing, folks? President Biden says he has more important things to do than address our southern border. Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, Mayorkas, he says the border is secure. Don't buy it for an instant, and I know none of you do. Okay? Folks, we have a crisis on the southern border. They can't deny it. It's all smoke and mirrors. Don't look at it and we'll pretend it doesn't exist. People are starting to worry, and you hear Democrats starting to speak up about it now. Why? Because they know our country is going to be overrun with illegal entries. First step, folks, here's a simple solution. Secure the border.
Leader McConnell.
Joe.
What do you say to Republicans who say this is the same type of operation we go through most years at this time of year? You had Scott Perry, a prominent member of the Freedom Caucus, saying McConnell is going to roll us here with a big spending bill here. Just last week, you were suggesting there might not be enough time to do a short-term bill. Now you're saying there is enough time unless they don't get it done by the 22nd. What do you say to that?
What I would say is I've been the majority leader and I've been the minority leader. Majority is better. Senator Schumer's in charge of the floor. He determines whether or not we pass individual appropriation bills, and he decides how to process them. So we're on defense. We're dealing with the cards that we were dealt. And what I would say is, given the fact that the Democrats have this presidency, the House, and the Senate, to meet our defense number and to not pay any bonus to the Democrats on the domestic side to achieve the defense number is far and away the best we could do, given the fact that we don't control the floor or the government.
In Senator Sinema's decision, did you reach out to her, encourage her to caucus with Republicans, or offer her committee assignments at the aisle?
Look, she and I talk all the time. She has a lot of friends on our side of the aisle, including me. And I think she's decided she's genuinely an independent and is charting her own course. And I wish her well. And we particularly admire her fierce defense of the institution itself. We were on the verge of having the institution literally broken by these people last year. She stood up to that, and I admire it.
Will you support a Republican against her?
Yeah, to follow up on that, will you try to recruit Jeff Ducey?
Yeah, look, I talk to her all the time.
To run against Senator Sinema.
I'm not going to get into the conversations that we've had. We talk all the time.
Can I
Yeah.
quick two-part question? First, do you support the Rubio bill to ban TikTok? And secondly, looking ahead to 2024, do you expect to take a more active role in choosing candidates, given what happened in 2022?
Well, looking back at 22, some of you may recall, I never said there was a red wave. I said we had a bunch of close races. And looking at each race separately, I wasn't making that up. We had a bunch of close races. We ended up having a candidate quality time. Anybody remember who mentioned that back in August? Look at Arizona. Look at New Hampshire. And a challenging situation in Georgia as well. We did, by we, I mean the Senate Leadership Fund, did intervene in two primaries, in Alabama and in Missouri. And I do think we had an opportunity to relearn one more time. You have to have quality candidates to win competitive Senate races. We went through this in 2010, 2012, Christine O'Donnell, Sharon Angle, Todd Aiken, Richard Murdoch. and unfortunately revisited that situation in 2022. Our ability to control the primary outcome was quite limited in 22 because of the support of the former president proved to be very decisive in these primaries. So my view was, do the best you can with the cards you're dealt. Hopefully in the next cycle, we'll have quality candidates everywhere and a better outcome.
Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. And while you're at it, please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching.